We will never forget that day. Our world changed 24 years ago. Lizzy Wright is the author of an upcoming spy novel called The Saffron Spy. Prior to 9/11, she worked for the intelligence department tracking Osama bin Laden. She's with us this morning to reflect and to remember 9/11 and what it did to the intelligence agencies here in the United States and abroad. Lizzy, welcome back to KUSI.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you for having me here on a day of truly national reflection.
Where were you? Who were you working for on that day 24 years ago?
So I was with the National Security Agency. I was recruited out of Harvard for undergrad directly into the intelligence community. Had no idea, day one, found out I was going to be tracking Osama bin Laden.
Because that day, the world changed. I mean, the call to service, you had NFL players joining special forces, and everybody was tracking this one man who eluded capture for quite some time.
You're absolutely right, and that's not for lack of effort. The reality is that these are difficult targets, and the amount of resources, I'm talking people, technology, etc., it was a massive effort, and it did take a long time to get Geronimo.
You know, that smoldering rubble, and I imagine the pressure to achieve results. I can't help but think that it became an obsession for all those involved. I mean, a 24/7 deal, right?
Absolutely, and I call it a personal obsession. You know, in my upcoming spy novel, The Saffron Spy, it's loosely based on my experience in intelligence, and you know, bin Laden and folks, terrorists like him, they become obsessions not just while you're clocked in. It is, as you said, a 24-hour fixation.
I thought that's what the movie Zero Dark 30 did a really good job of capturing, how everybody is pushing for this, but you know, the pressure to get results brings you to your breaking point.
Right. There's, the documentary as well. There's been plenty of information out there about what was done and how difficult the task at hand was. And there's not one of us who every day wasn't hoping for that breakthrough. But the amount of coordination after the 9/11 Commission, the amount of interagency coordination, we've seen such vast improvements. And that is why, to date, no attack at scale at that level.
And we were expecting that to be a regular occurrence. I think a lot of people in government thought this is just the beginning.
Well, what folks do not know, and this is just the nature of intelligence, is what is thwarted, right? So we think, oh, well, there must not have been efforts. Of course, there are always efforts, and it takes vigilance at every level.
Now, presumably he had help from the Pakistani government, but for one person to disappear with the full weight of the U.S. and you know, Western civilization tracking you, how does one, you know, with the spy satellites and communications being tracked, how does one man elude all those people chasing him?
Sure, it takes support, of course, but the reality is that, you know, the technologies, the improvements we've made, there's much still to be done. However, it is a much different landscape now than it was then, but it still requires us to be on guard, proactive, and in fact, this idea that one man or any person could elude us that way, that is a difficult thing for any one of us to accept.
And then to find him down the road from what was the Pakistani West Point, basically, their military academy, it just almost defies. You get a book like yours written. I assume there are 1,000 people have to sign off on it.
Right. So
talk about that.
Of course, when it is a lifelong commitment. You know, when you sign up for the work that I did. Now, I'm long since out of that business, became a writer of all things. However, each one of us, when we write about these experiences, of course, it goes through a vast approval network before publication. And that will happen in this case. Now, The Saffron Spy is with an editor right now, so it is not at publication. However, I feel like books like mine, they're intended to get the public to debate what's too far. How do we handle things that are difficult morally, ethically?
The waterboarding became a big issue and things of that nature.
Correct.
I assume is what you're referring to.
And it's not about taking a political side here. It's about allowing folks to grapple with that, and everyone will fall in a different place, and that's okay.
To me, and I hate to go back to a work of fiction or Zero Dark 30, but to me the most poignant moment in that movie is he's been captured, he's dead, and that sense of, you know, you have been 24/7 for years of your life tracking this man, and now he is captured, and that when that scene of her on the big cargo plane, just like, what do I do now? How do I fill that void in my life?
Right, right.
When you heard that he was captured, can you speak to that, to what you were feeling?
Certainly a level of relief, however, also a knowledge that it's never just one man. It will require us to continue on our efforts, even doubling down. And you know, this idea for me, the biggest thing was this was justice delayed, but not denied. And that's important as we think about the families of 9/11 victims and what they're still going through. At least it was a victory to cut the head of the snake.
You have to be successful every day, whereas a perpetrator can just be lucky once. And,
Right, right.
I mean, and those are tough odds to fight against, and yet 24 years later, we haven't had a similar attack. So
Right, right. Now, that means a continued effort.
we need another 24 years, another
Right.
24 years, another 24.
Right.
Well, Lizzy, I look forward to one day reading that book.
Thank you.
What do you think project as a timeline at coming out?
You know, I hesitate to speculate, but folks can find out more at lizzywright.com. That's my website. And if folks want some interaction with me, I'll actually be here in La Jolla at Warwick's on the 24th, so nearly 2 weeks, a little under 2 weeks. I'll be speaking with folks here.
Well, Lizzy, you're always welcome here to promote that. And when that book comes out, I want to get one of the first copies.
You bet. Thank you, Paul.
Lizzy Wright, everybody. We'll be right back with more Good Morning San Diego.